Good morning, blessed people. Good morning. Welcome to, oh, I didn't give you a chance to respond. Good morning. Oh, they're ready. Hey, do you want to tell us what that was?
Sure. That was a song called Sweet Sweet Singing, which is an original tune.
Original tune. Thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Wow. Well, welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. It is Sunday, June 8th of 2025. I am the Reverend Dr. Kadar Walker. I use the she, her pronouns, and I am absolutely delighted and honored to serve as the minister of this beloved community. For those with visual disability, I'm a middle-aged, light-skinned female. My hair is mid-length, light brown, and curly. I wear glasses, and today I have a bright yellow Side of Love stole, which marks from the Unitarian Universalist Association emblem, and a black and white mixed fabric styled, designed dress. I don't know how to describe. Flowered. There we go, flowered. And my beloved, you are welcome here. You are absolutely welcome here. If you are watching on YouTube now or in the future, we are delighted that you also chose to be with us in digital format. You are all welcome here, and whomever you love, however you arrived, if you came by car, by footstep, by bicycle or broomstick, we're glad you are here. We are a people of many origins, many beliefs, many questions. We are Unitarian Universalists, a multi-faith religious community where questions are always entertained, answers are occasionally provided, and debate is encouraged. If this is your very first time here with us, please know you are welcome. We're delighted that you've chosen to be with us, whether in person or out in the YouTube land. Please introduce yourself. Let us know what you're looking for. We have a welcome desk here in the garden lobby side to your left, and you can provide us for information if you would like. You can also sign up for our newsletter on our website and start finding out about all the wonderful things that we are engaged in, and start to feel connected to this community. There's a couple of changes in the order of service, and one is that Lee is doing our music. Yay! Thank you very much, and our hymn leading is being offered by the fantabulous, awesome Elia Kornberg. Thank you very much. And you will might be confused, but let me clarify this for you, that we were going to have for our liturgist, Chris Beregi. She had to be called away in a urgent family issue, but I'm so delighted that instead we have Chrissy Abras, who is doing a repeat performance from last Sunday. We're so delighted to have you. So there's Friday night, this family, I put words together and mashed them. Friday, movie night, this Friday, the 6th. Please, RSVP for family movie night that's coming up this Friday. RSVP by today. Yes, please. And all families are welcome. Glad to have you. Of any size, of any shape. Families are welcome. We're glad to have you. And also a correction or update, I'm not sure which it is, from the newsletter, the pancake breakfast is actually being held in August. Yes. Do we have a date? We don't have a date yet. It's been postponed till August. So, beloved, if you are in any way experiencing financial difficulties, paying bills, just living one moment to the next, please reach out to me. I do have a special fund for that. Reach out to me within the next week or so, because I am going to be leaving for travel, going to General Ministers Association next week, etc. But if you are in need, please reach out to me as soon as you can. And I invite you now to take a deep breath. And I mostly do this for myself, and arrive in body and spirit into this beautiful sanctuary where we gather in community, where we gather online, and imagine yourself connected to one another. Those sitting beside you in the pew, those connected. And for Unitarian Universalists throughout this city, throughout this country, for all people gathering in worship throughout this weekend, religious people finding ourselves in this common space of community building. We turn to our chalice lighting, the symbol of our faith as Unitarian Universalists, two circles coming together with a bright light in the middle, guiding us. Let this light be a guide through all the moments when we find ourselves alone, and remind us of the power of connection, of friendship, of community, that we only need to reach out with a few words of hello and welcome and introduction. Let this be an inspiration of courage and strength and resilience. I invite you to stand as you're able for hymn 346. Come sing a song with me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring you song of love on the road in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
I didn't tell Chrissy that I was going to do this, so I didn't know I was going to react the way I am about to. So last year we talked about the change from using our principles to our values, which was a deep conversation that was started by the Unitarian Universalist Association 5-6 years ago, and now our values are part of who we are in a public and very private ways. And I promised that we would weave the principles and the values through readings throughout the spring and into the summer. And today marks the last time that we will be reciting the principles as part of our liturgy. And we are creating artwork that will go in the walls downstairs to mark the evolution of the principles from 1961 to 1985 and onward to 2022. So I invite you to think about this with deep reflection and appreciation for these principles, which have been a part of the liturgy of this community for a very long time.
Good morning. I am Chrissy Ambrose, your substitute liturgist. I use she, her pronouns. For anyone with any visual difficulties, I'm a light-skinned woman in my mid-40s. I have shoulder-length brown hair. Today I'm wearing a green top. And I would invite you to join me in the collective reading. The words are all found in your order of service. We covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, the goal of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are part, journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions.
Hello, good morning. Just when I had the principles memorized, huh? I'm Erica Shadow, I can't talk today. I'm Erica Shadow Song, and I am the Lifespan Religious Education Director here. And for those with visual disabilities, I have brown skin, I'm wearing a head wrap, and I'm wearing a blue shirt that I often wear for water communion, because it looks watery. And I have two stories, kind of. There's this story called Answer Mountain, and it kind of goes like this. There's a town that lives near a huge mountain, and on the mountain are carved these big stone words, and nobody knows who put the words up there. But what it says is the answer is no. So anytime somebody in the town had a question, they would look up at the mountain and they'd read the answer is no, and they say, okay, well that must be the answer, because they were really indecisive. And these were words written in stone. And anything that is written in stone is pretty impressive, right? Seems really old, like it's gonna last forever. But it wasn't long before Answer Mountain started causing problems. People would ask things like, well, should I make meatloaf today or should I make pot roast today? And they would say, it wouldn't help with a question like that. Should I be kind? The answer is no. Should I share with my siblings? The answer is no. Not very helpful. So they got together and they decided that they needed to change it, and they formed committees, and they formed task forces, and they talked about it for a really long time, and they voted, and they finally changed it to the answer is yes, which, as you know, probably caused even more problems. They never finished updating the mountain because they finally decided that you can't have one answer for every question. Sometimes even the same question has more than one answer. And I think that story is really perfect for us today, because we also had 7 principles. We had them for a pretty long time, not forever, not written in stone, but for a pretty long time. And they were important, and they didn't come together right away. We had to think about it. What is important to us? It's important to work for justice. It's important to be democratic. It's important to take care of our earth. And then a few years ago, we realized saying that we want to be nice to everybody is not enough. We need to say we are going to stand against and dismantle racism. So we added an 8th principle. And then came the values. We thought about it again, and that was part of our process. See, that's the cool thing. Unlike the people in Answer Mountain, we knew not to write our principles in stone. It might feel like they were, but it was never in stone. And the wonderful thing about the values is they're saying the same thing, but they say it in a different way. What is different? For those of you who've read both, what's the if you had to sum it up, what's one difference between the principles and the values? If you had to put in one word. Love. Thank you. When I think of the principles, I feel like we were thinking really hard. What's the right thing? Then we said, you know what, we can think a lot and we can have the right answers, but really it needs to come from love. Because we're not always going to agree on the right answers. But love, if you make decisions based on love, most of the time a community will come very clearly together around that. And so that's what we did. So that is the story of our Values Mountain. And we love the principles and we love the values and we can keep all of them. And with that, we will have our kids go to our beginning summer religious education today.
You're going to need to announce what the song is, because it's not in the order of service.
Yes, so we're going to sing this little round as the children go off to religious education. 395, Sing and Rejoice.
Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice.
It's now time to collect our offering. Every month, we share our generosity with a designated organization. This month, it is Ceasefire PA, and all donations are shared 50-50 with this organization unless they're somehow otherwise designated. And this morning, we are fortunate enough to have with us Beth Foringer from Ceasefire PA to talk to you more about this.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you, Chrissy, and thank you, Reverend Walker and members of the Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm always really happy to be here and really appreciative whenever I have an opportunity to talk with everyone. My title is Southwest Pennsylvania Senior Coordinator for Ceasefire PA. If you're not familiar with Ceasefire PA already, then I have more work to do. Happy to answer questions. But today, I'd like to talk with everybody about our current campaign, which is the Investing in Safer Communities. If you're not already familiar, we have violence intervention programs that are effectively, evidence-based, effectively reducing firearm homicides here in the Pittsburgh area by 41% over the past 2 years. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I can't take credit for that. The credit goes to our community violence intervention workers. These are individuals that are working in programs from all across the county, from McKees Rocks to the Southside Hilltop to the Mon Valley to the East Hills. These individuals have gone through a lot of the violence that they are now mitigating. They're now intervening in their own communities. These are the credible messengers that the communities respond to. They intervene. We've been long working towards not just responding to violence, not just reacting to the healing, but preventing, intervening, and changing this generational trauma. So these programs are at risk, like every other program that we're aware of on the federal level. These programs are at risk of losing the funding, and we know from other states when the funding is no longer there or even reduced, we see an increase in the violence. So my two messages for you today is take a moment and learn about the violence intervention programs that exist throughout the entire state. Learn about the importance of the funding for that. Talk with me. I'm happy to make that really easy for you, connect you to those programs. This is Wear Orange Weekend. Wear Orange officially started on Friday, which is always the first Friday in June, and it's National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Wear Orange is the color of safety. This is the 11th anniversary of Wear Orange, and it started 11 years ago when a young woman by the name of Hadia Pendleton, her life was taken shortly after she participated in President Obama's inauguration. She was killed in a park in Chicago. Her friends came together, again identified the color orange as the color of safety to recognize how we can, as a community, as members of our neighborhoods, can come together and prevent future violence. So number one, making sure that we are aware that these workers exist. They're working 24/7 on the front lines to intervene. They need the funding, they need the community support. So I'm really working to uplift and raise awareness of what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and why funding is so vitally important for them. So Ceasefire PA is calling on our PA legislature to invest in $100 million in violence intervention program funding. Fortunately, Governor Shapiro did allot for $56.5 million in the state budget. So we're certainly, applauding him for those, for that recognition and those efforts, but we are asking for them to expand that funding. So the more conversations we can have about this, the more we understand that communities that are not most impacted by the violence, we all stand to benefit. We all stand to benefit from pouring into communities. No matter where you are, you deserve to be safe, no matter where. So thank you for this message. Thank you for the invitation. Ceasefirepa.org. I would love to connect with anybody that doesn't know yet about this incredible work being done. Gun violence impacts our communities everywhere, and it looks unique everywhere. But the collective, we can all take a single action to continue to reduce violence. And my closing comment is that this gun violence prevention movement is overwhelming. It's really overwhelming. But every single action that you take is equivalent to one life saved. So just take that, think about what you can do today to support these communities, to support firearms, suicide prevention, domestic violence. Every little action adds up. So ceasefirepa.org, you can find our current campaign, our petition to virtually sign on there. And then my first name is Beth, and it's beth@ceasefirepa.org. I'll be staying a little bit after, before the next Wear Orange event that I'll be participating in today. So thank you again very much.
Our religious community is made up of volunteers and staff creating and hosting a wide variety of programming. And for that, we rely on your financial support. So in addition to the collection plate, you can donate by texting the word GIVE to 412-435-1050 and following the directions. Please check the end of your order of service, and there's more information there and more direction. The offering will now be gratefully received to support the work, the wonder, and the witness of our religious community. I invite the ushers to come forward.
I'm grateful for Beth being here to talk about Ceasefire PA, and since it's not in the order of service, I'll just announce that this is a song called Change the World with the Song that I thought would be appropriate for this partnership. I'm gonna change the world with this song. I'm gonna change the world with this song. When I sing this song, all the folks will clap their hands. They'll put down their guns and together they will stand. And that's how I'll change the world with this song. I'm gonna end all pain with this song. Gonna end all pain with this song. When I sing this song and you hear the next few chords, folks praying for themselves, they will see we can't afford to hate one another, only think about our own reward. And that's how I'll end all pain with this song. Do you think I'll change the world with this song? You know, I doubt I'll change the world with this song. Maybe not this song, maybe the next, maybe I'm wrong. 'Cause tell me, has the world ever changed with just a song? I seem to recall words like a change is gonna come. We are the world, oh yes, we shall overcome. The answer is blowing in the wind, all you need is love. Swing low, sweet chariot, oh swing down from up above. The answer is blowing in the wind, all you need is love. Swing low, sea chariot, oh swing down from up above. I hear the chorus sounding all across this planet blue. Started with the Big Bang and kept rolling right on through. And if you can sing or dance or play, then you can do it too. Then we'll all change the world with a song.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh. My beloved, let us bring our hearts together. All the joys and the sorrows that are marked by our daily lives. I invite you to celebrate with me with Linda Kaufman, who sent me a note that she hosted recently a celebration with family and friends to mark her 85th birthday. Oh, yay, Linda Kaufman. And we celebrate today, this weekend, Rob Schwartz, who is biking on the MS 150 in the rain. Send your love and support to keep Rob safe on that grand adventure. Yeah. And yesterday I marked, on June 7th is the anniversary of my ordination, which occurred June 7th, 1998, so 27 years. So I'm very, my husband knows me well. He surprised me with a pile of books. So all those joys and all those sorrows within our hearts, I know there are many, many, many dancing around in your lives. Hold them dear and share them as well. That is such a wonderful way to reconnect with one another. It is how we love one another in those deepening bonds of intimacy and support. Please join me in a few moments of personal prayer or meditation and deepened silence. Spirit of love, hold us in your strength. Remind us of your endurance. Spirit of love, remind us where we are grounded when we feel lost, when we feel disconnected and alone. Remind us of the power, the bonds that reunite us of who we are. This interconnected web of existence is bound together with small and large acts of love. May the Spirit of life remind us of our own breath and the breath of our neighbors and friends. May the Spirit of justice guide us when we see oppression, when we see racism and sexism and all the ways that people can be torn apart. Let us be guided by this love. Let us be guided by its strength. Let us be guided by the commitment to one another and the beauty of our interconnected web. For it is life itself. When our hearts are breaking in a million pieces, it reminds us that we are human. It reminds us that we are filled with compassion. Our tears, our testimony to the love that we feel and the love that we strive for. Let our laughter also ring true even as we shed our tears. Blessed be, and amen. I invite you to stay seated and sing together from the Teal hymnal 1012, When I Am Frightened.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly. Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
This morning's reading is Letters After My Name by Carrie Kopnick. I pull another basket of steaming dishes out of the dishwasher in our church basement. My partner in kitchen cleanup grabs a clean dish towel to dab the pools of water from the upturned soup bowls. They ask, "So what's your undergraduate in?" The conversations that happen in church kitchens are my absolute favorites. I've been washing dishes in church basements since I was 11. Kitchen ministry fills my heart. But not this time. Not this conversation. I know the look I'll get. I know they won't mean harm, but I can feel the shame creep from my heart to my face. I am staff here. They pay me a chunk from their operating budget to direct the ministry to and with their children and teens. Surely I have a degree, preferably a master's degree. Likely even a professional license of some kind too. Actually, I don't. I didn't finish my undergrad. I turned to load the next round of soup bowls. And while I want to say I was close to a degree in child psych, if I move back to that state, I'll finish it up. But I just spray the bowls with the restaurant-style sprayer. Bits of barley and carrots fly everywhere, and the conversation stops. My eyes don't linger to see the raised eyebrows, the quick flash of judgment. It's not that I didn't want to finish school. I just come from a working class family where college visits and choosing the right school were a foreign world. My high school teachers didn't see anything special in me. My brain functions more like modern dance, a number done in the woods, upside down, than a neat and tidy ballet performance of Swan Lake. So I tumbled out of high school and headed where my friends went, to the big public research institution that was all about third position and absolutely no woods. It's not surprising that I left early, feeling stupid. I worked in what could have been the Ms. Magazine top 10 low-wage jobs for women, until my Unitarian Universalist congregation needed a religious educator, and I applied. We were wildly successful, doubling the number of registered children, then doubling it again. We won an award for growth and innovation, and finally had to buy a church building to house our booming congregation. I served on district and continental boards for my professional association, and my blog was often featured in the denominational magazine. But I never applied to be formally credentialed. How could I? I would have had to face the credentialing committee with no letters after my name. My faith says all are welcome. My faith says we are all whole and holy and good. I myself have said that to dozens of children and teens, and yet we have miles to go to make that so.
If I were to ask you what my favorite place is in the church building, you might think I'd say the sanctuary, or maybe my office, which I love, but it's not. It's the kitchen. It's the kitchen. Since I was a young child, as we heard from that wonderful reading from Carrie, is the kitchen. That's where things happen in a church. Since my childhood as well, it's where I've witnessed life heat up and community really gets cooking. For me, when I was ages of 5 through 9, if I didn't like what was going on in the religious education class, I would take off and head to the kitchen, where I got to really get to know the church sexton. I loved that space. In my first ministry up in Meadville, just north of here, the kitchen is where the board met every month. I loved that about them. In my last church at Mount Vernon in Alexandria, Virginia, well, we had 2 buildings and we had 2 kitchens. In the main building where the offices were, the staff would meet and have lunch there most days. It was a wonderful way for the staff to get to know each other. And in the other building with that kitchen, I remember every fall the Women's Alliance gathering to make big pots of chutney for their annual holiday sale. And we would gather over those incredible rich smells and swap stories. Here in this kitchen, do you know when my moment arrived? It was actually in March when I was hanging out with our young adults as they were prepping a meal for the East End Community Ministry. That was my moment in this kitchen. As we just heard from that wonderful reading, the kitchen is where the connections are made, introductions are launched, friendships like their favorite seasonings come together to make something delicious. Beyond the usual church dinners, as awesome as they are, and their product production, what you see behind the scenes are members engaged in parallel play, side by side meal prep. Church kitchens are where the bonds are often deepened over conversations and mixing of ingredients. Like a good recipe, there's some structure, and there's also mixed with some creativity, all with an unknown outcome. The recent drop, not that recent, actually, long drop in church attendance over the past few decades has not only resulted in empty pews, it's resulted in empty kitchens, sitting there weeks at a time unused. And I think an empty kitchen is an empty and lost opportunity. Those relationships between new friends that are found in religious community are founded in help, I believe, form a healthy society at large. The United States is experiencing a long shift documented in multiple studies that show that we have fewer friends. We see a decrease in socialization, an increase in loneliness for some groups. What this looks like is fewer points of connection between, say, neighbors, co-workers, roommates, general companionship, dinner parties, movie partners. People are going to restaurants less. They're not going to the libraries as much. They're not going to the movie theaters as much. This decline has impacted men more than women. And on the plus side, though, the poor have more social connections than the wealthy. I'll let you unpack that for a little bit. The poor need each other more when you think about it. The pandemic, of course, exacerbated these trends, increased work hours at home and not with other co-workers, fewer social engagements, and particularly hit hard have been our young Americans and African Americans. Seeing this drop in restaurant attendant, people dining out, and more takeaway. If we do eat in, it's not uncommon to see people dining alone because people are staying at home more often, and why not? Over the last many decades, particularly the last part of the 20th century, our homes have been expanding. They're much bigger. Smaller yards, bigger homes. They're much more comfortable. And in every single one of those rooms is a digital screen that's offering us gaming and entertainment and really alarming news. Why leave home at all? Not surprising, these trends have also indicated individual solitude, that people are saying, I like to be alone. I like to be alone too, but gosh darn, I also like to be with people. So some people are saying they are more lonely, not all, depends upon the age and the gender. Adolescents and young adults and more men have been reporting increased loneliness. It also correlates with loss of intimacy. There was a really fascinating article in the April 2023 issue of The Atlantic about that intimacy in all its various forms and depths and breadths has been dropping, and we don't really know how to be truly emotionally, spiritually, and physically intimate with one another. In The Atlantic this past February, they had an article titled that we've become the anti-social century. We're losing our basic social skills, how to talk with one another, from the inner circle of our family to our intimate partners to those that we count as close friends. We've seen a drop of those friends that are not intimate, but just really people we know and rely on. And most probably alarmingly, we have a near incapacity to engage in that outer circle of how to talk to a stranger. because we fear each other so much. This loss of socialization is easily connected to the current alarming, heightened emotional turmoil. It's marked by the takeover of the conservative new form of the GOP by populist politicians and their devoted dogs. And I love dogs, I do. And then the subsequent election of those populist leaders through reactionary, fear-based attacks. And then they're tearing apart the very institutions that have taken us hundreds of years to build up. And it's all accompanied by a deep mistrust of reason and science. And I have to start to wonder if the age of reason and enlightenment is finally crashing to an end. But of course, we know that we can't all lean on, just as a side note, important side note, we can't always rely on reason alone. Please don't idolize Spock and Data too much. Extreme lack of emotion leads to psychopathology. So we need a good balance, and we're not in a good balance right now. In this age of divisiveness and mistrust and fear, even a simple encounter with a stranger can be fraught. I'll give you an example. The Friday after election this past fall, I was still feeling unsettled. I was raw. The edges of fear were kind of eating at my worldview. So I knew I'll go for a bike ride. That'll help. Biking always helps. So I drove out to a trailhead in McDonald, Pennsylvania. I parked to my usual spot, and while I was getting my bicycle out of the back of the car, a woman walked by, and I looked up and said, "Hi." That's what I do. "Hi." She paused. She looked at me. And I honestly don't remember if she said hi back because of what came next. She looked at me and she said, through my unsettled raw fear and wondering who did she vote for, this was the fear, right? This is the lens we had in those days after the election. Who did you vote for? And she said, "I didn't know you could park here." And it wasn't curiosity, trust me. Her tone was accusing. "It's an access road," she proclaimed. And I looked up and down and I said, "There are no signs saying I can't park here." Just noting the obvious. We had a short exchange between her accusations that I was impeding access to something and her proclamation that there was a perfectly good parking lot across the busy highway. Apparently, she's more comfortable with taking her bike across a busy highway than I am. And then she declared that she was going to contact someone for this great infraction in society. I barely enjoyed my bike ride. I did. It was hard to shake that off, but I realized she was probably scared too. But that took a few weeks for me to realize that compassion and empathy were so important. And if you're asking, have I been back to that particular trail point? Not yet. I'll get there. How do we engage with one another when our amygdalas are so easily triggered? Fear is running amok and we can barely talk to each other because we want to know, are you one of them or are you one of me? We've got these lines and we want to know how to change this direction. The kitchen feels like it's on fire. How do we just say hi, hello, nice to meet you, and truly mean it with sincerity and risk-taking and building relationships? So I referred back to a book by David Brooks called The Social Animal, published back in 2011. And in that, he launches with his foundation of his book, which I found quite good, as he says, failures have been marked by a single feature, and this is about humanity, reliance on an overly simplistic view of human nature. Reliance on an overly simplistic view of human nature. So I'm taking 4 hints from David Brooks to offer you. And the first hint is be patient with one another. Be patient. We need to accept that we are aware of this knowledge that we have this vast neural network with billions of points of connection that are fluctuating and constantly updating. We are actually pretty complicated creatures. So when you're wondering why your teen is not doing whatever it is they're supposed to be doing, recognize their brain is computing 1,000,000 points of connection. And they probably don't know why they're not doing it either. We have a need to simplify, to oversimplify, and we just can't. So we need to be patient with each other, truly patient. Second hint, pay attention. When they say anywhere from 85 to 90% of our communication is shown through our body language, it's true. So maybe pause, watch the body language. Because we're taking that in, and wouldn't it be better if we were noticing that we're taking it in? To pay attention to one another's messaging in all the ways that it arrives. Third hint, you're going to love this one. Laugh. Laugh. I know, it's hard these days, but seriously, people are 30 times more likely to laugh when with other people than when they're alone. If you want to laugh, go find somebody else. Laugh together. We feel more connected, we feel more empathic, responding in a parallel ways to all those points of connectivity. And did you know that, I love this, laughter is an instinctive form of social bonding. Instinctive form of social bonding. Humor is crafted to exploit this deep point of connection that keeps us alive and thriving. Fourth hint, lean into that bonding. Lean into it. It results not only in our survival, but our thriving. And it starts with babies and their mothers, and it goes on from there, sexual partners with procreation. We need the bonding. So lean in. It might mean taking some risks. So here was this wonderful risk story that I found. It was written by a guy named Joe Batten. And Joe Batten was a seminar. He provided business seminars to people all over the country. And he flew into this one country to meet with a bunch of business executives and business people and to tell them about tough management, tough-minded management, how to do this. And Ed walks into this room, and it's filled with all these business white males. He didn't say that, but that's what I'm imagining. I admit it. And tough management, and one of the guys walks up to him and he says, his name is Ed, and he's a big burly guy with a deep voice. And Joe immediately realizes Big Ed here is the one who's really in charge of everybody, the alpha male. And he says, I'm really looking forward to getting everybody in line, to talking about tough management. And he says, I'm work very, very hard as a troubleshooter for this international organization. I go into places and I fire those CEOs if they need to be fired. Okay, good to know, Big Joe, Big Ed, have a seat. So Joe did his seminar, but he knew that Big Ed was not going to hear what he wanted to hear. The end of the seminar, Big Ed is just sitting there. Talk about body language. Doesn't say anything. Joe says thank you to everybody and then heads back to the airport. Wonders what happened to Big Ed. 3 years later, he's back to give another seminar, same hotel, same city, same group of people. And there is Big Ed sitting there. Body language is different though. He gets into the seminar and a few minutes in, Big Ed raises his hand. Joe, can I speak for a moment? Sure, Big Ed, you can say whatever you want. And that's when the testimony flows. As Ed says, you know, that time you were here 3 years ago and you talked about tough management starts with saying, I love you. I thought you were talking about a bunch of sentimental garbage. I walked out of here thinking, what a waste of my time. But then that night I'm sitting at home with my wife. 25 years we've been married. And I wondered when was the last time I told her I loved her. And I looked at her and I realized I really love her. I should tell her. So I asked her to put the paper down, and she did. And I looked at her and I said, I love you. And his wife looked at him and says, yes, I know, dear. And put the paper back up. Ed said, "No, honey, I love you." And she put the paper down, and she looked at him and realized something was different. And tears came to her eyes. And their relationship was transformed. And then he thought, when was the last time I told my kids I love them? Adult kids living in cities far away. Called each one of them that night. "Yeah, Dad, what's up?" And he launched into what he thought would be a really awkward conversation that ended with feeling closer to his two sons than he had ever felt before. So he said in the end, testifying to all these business management people and to Joe Batten, "Thank you. You've transformed my life because you've helped me realize that when you lean into the love, you start with respect and listening, and you focus on the strength over the weaknesses, and you're building connection and confidence with people. And now I'm one of the leading executive vice presidents of this company because I'm one of their best employees." So when I say listen to Joe Batten, I'm saying listen. And he sat down. Lessons from Big Ed. It's for the business world, but it's for all of us, isn't it? When we stop focusing on the outcome and production as a means of success, instead focus on respect and listening and affirmation. David Brooks adds an insight to this very point when he says that studies that show when parents focus on their children, pushing them for hyper-achievement, for testing, for outcome, for getting into the next big school, that the children, those kids, those precious children, they lose their ability to socialize. They have fewer friends because they're not spending time with those friends. They don't have the social skills. So I'm going to add my two little bits of hints. Please put down the smartphone. Wherever you are, put down the smartphone when you're with one another at home, meals, even if you're by yourself. The smartphones offer a pseudo-socialization, making us emotionally exhausted. So much that we don't have the time or the energy to talk with people face to face. 2, notice the biases. They're there. That reading from Carrie Kopnick, when she talked about the classism that she experienced in her own Unitarian Universalism congregation is real. Let go of the unconscious theories of who people should be, who we want them to be. Instead, let them be who they are in all of their fullness. And then let them change, because they probably will, just as you will. So here's some good news that I saw recently. That drop in attendance in churches and synagogues and mosques has started to level out. We're not hemorrhaging members anymore across all the denominations. People are stopping, and maybe there's even an uptick and coming back into the pews and the kitchens. That's the really good news, because churches and mosques and synagogues are the ultimate third space where we come together with one another, actively listening with open minds and hearts while we were baking cookies and doing dishes. It's where we practice disagreements, too much sugar, I think, and we compromise, but a pinch of salt may help. Disappointment happens like broken eggs, that we can clean them up. And I may be exaggerating, but when I watch that board meetings year after year at the Meadville Church, I witnessed the foundation of democracy in that kitchen. When we're face to face, we can't demonize each other, and everybody can feel that their voice and their actions are needed. And we want to help one another when we're face to face. When we take our social skills out into the larger world and we can talk to strangers, and you know what? Study after study shows that when we talk to strangers, whether it's on our commute or in a restaurant, we're happier. We're happier. So, kitchen stories. Let them bond us in all the ways that they need to. And maybe invite some strangers into our kitchen. I believe that this is not random acts of compassion. They're random acts of kindness. They're intentional, and they help heal the world through our social networks. One small public act can change a norm as others bear witness. And when you change a norm, you change people's values. And when you change people's values, you change their behavior, and you circle back again and again until it grows. This church can be a source of inspiration. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? That we can be a source of inspiration? In addition to our many multi-generational events and inviting people like last week's picnic, we have game nights every other Monday for young adults. We've been talking about expanding community dinners where people get together in people's homes and cooking dinners. We are talking about community-wide events where we can start to say, come on by. We're cooking something up in our kitchen. So here's my real radical point. Being friendly, being social, putting yourself out there to talk to your neighbors, talk with the strangers is the best path to health, personally and in society at large. In other ways, it's the best way to engage in resistance to the despair and the disconnection that marks our country right now. Our resistance can be cooked up in the kitchen. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe. I invite you to stand as you're able for 1021. Lean on me. Of course. It's got to be lean on me.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share your load. If you just call me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, if you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
Bill Withers, man. Bill Withers. I invite you to join your voices together as we extinguish our chalice. The words are found in our hearts as well as in the order of service. We extinguish this flame but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go out into this world, my beloved. Go out into this world and remember you are part of an interconnected web of existence. So say hello to the other points of connection in this existence. Say hello. Welcome them. Say hello. It starts from there. And then go cook something up. Return again in love and with cookies. Blessed be.